With the scouting combine finally starting today, and unfortunately, as you can see, I am not out there to cover it, but soon we will be back. Either way, it is today, so I want to talk about some draft content. I have been gone for a little bit, but we have been trying to get some things going on the back end, which I will talk about very soon. But today, I just want to talk about some draft prospects and some guys I'm excited to see at the combine. And I figured the best way to do it is probably to do a full on mock draft. So let's get it.
You want Philly Philly?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Philly, Philly, man. We about to draft something special. There's a lot of really, really good prospects in this draft, so I'm excited to kind of go through this draft. I was going to go through, like, my top 5 guys that I like. I was going to go through, the 5 guys you should look out for, this, that, and third. I figured let's go through a mock draft. Let's see who I, pull up, who I might end up drafting, and I'll talk about them as we go. There are some players that aren't going to be running, obviously, some of the bigger names, wide receiver names, Neighbors or Nabbers. I don't know how you're supposed to say his last name, but him and Marvin Harrison both said that they're not going to be running. I believe J.J. Daniels isn't going to be working out. He's just going to be there for the interviews and everything like that. So we'll see who actually ends up running. We'll see who actually ends up working out. I will say from my experience at the combine, the scouting combine is much less about it's much less about what they do as far as on the field, right? Because anybody can run in a controlled atmosphere. Anybody can throw balls in a controlled atmosphere, catch, whatever it may be. They can do that in a controlled atmosphere. These guys are A1 athletes, so they're going to look good. It's more so about what they say, how they present themselves, how they represent themselves, and just the vibe overall that they give to these, whether it be media members or it be the actual teams themselves. But we're going to get into all that. Before we get into that, you know what it is, man. It's your boy Joe Castro, a.k.a. Philly Fresco, and it is Philly Philly the podcast. So be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family. I know we've been going for a little bit, but if you guys want to get these, videos as they drop, definitely hit that like and subscribe and join that family. So let's hop right into it, man. I don't want to waste too much time because this could be a long video, but hopefully it's not. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to draft, guys. We are going to draft. So I wish I did this live, and if you guys want me to, maybe I will do a live version of this, and you guys let me know if you guys, would enjoy that. But we are going to be using the Pro Football Mock Draft Simulator. I just feel like they have the best draft simulator right now, and it's free. So shout out to PF for that. But so we have some trades, and trades is something I might get into a little bit later. I mean, honestly, in this draft, I will tell you right now, in this draft, I would not be against moving down and getting out of the first round. I think that there's a lot of talent in this draft. So I think that it would be something interesting if the Eagles were to decide to do that. And I don't know why I said J.J. Daniels, J.J. McCarthy. I'm glad that came up. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Look, a lot of people have talked about Chop Robinson. A lot of people are on both sides of the fence when it comes to a Cooper DeJean. It's very interesting that they have him listed as a safety. I think that would be a very interesting prospect for him. I think that he has the versatility, he has the tools to go ahead and be a safety, to go ahead and be a cornerback. He can be really whatever you want him to be. I think that in our scheme, if you were to put him at safety, I think that it opens up a world of opportunities for you. Now, edge, Chop Robinson is a guy that I really like. I think that there's a lot of high upside. Now, the production might not blow you off the, blow your socks off or whatever saying you want to say, pause. But he is a very, very good player. He has all the tools. Again, he's a very athletic guy, freakishly athletic. I think he's like 6'5". I like him. I really do. And honestly, I think that that's a Howie type pick. Now, if you look at who else is available, obviously you got Cam Kitchens. I think that he's one of the best, if not the best safeties in this draft. You got Tyler Nubin also, depending on who you ask, he's the best safety. So it really depends on your flavor, I guess. You got Jordan Morgan, who could be an offensive lineman for us. Kingsley, I'm not going to try and say his last name. He did really well at the Senior Bowl. He's another guy that could be on our radar. Troy Fatanu is actually a guy that's very, very interesting. And the reason why he's interesting is because I did go to the Senior Bowl, as you guys know, and I was able to talk to Latu, and he was the star of the show for most of the week. Obviously, Kenyon Mitchell had a really good week, and other guys had really good weeks, but he was a guy I had my eye on all week, and a guy that, honestly, I didn't feel really had to go to the Senior Bowl. He didn't really have anything to prove. But long story short, the reason why I'm bringing him up is I asked him, who are some guys that you felt did very well this week? Who were some of the toughest matchups that you had this week? And he did bring up Troy Fautanu. So I think that that's an interesting guy. Maybe the Eagles, take a shot there. Darius Robinson, another guy. Would not be surprised to see the Eagles take a shot there. Adisa Isaac, Enos Rakestraw. These are all guys that I definitely could see the Eagles going ahead and taking. Cooper Beebe, maybe. I've seen him drop out of the first round a lot lately, but maybe he's a guy. I know a lot of people would love to see Jeremiah Trotter, but I'm going to go with what I think would help the Eagles the most right now. And honestly, I do think that edge rusher is a huge need right now, but I also do think that safety, cornerback, secondary play is a big need right now. A lot of people are, like I said, depending on who you ask, you either love Cooper DeJean or you think that he's way overrated. So you guys let me know in the comments what you think about Cooper DeJean, but I am going to take him with the first pick. Now, now we wait for the second round where we do have a good amount of picks. I mean, look, this is what you want. As an Eagles fan, as an Eagles front office staff member, you want these slew of options. Again, we're getting some trade options, nothing I really love. Maybe next time we'll do some trades. Now, we're in a interesting situation because Christian Haynes, by this time on most of my mock drafts, unfortunately, Adisa Isaac is gone. That was probably the guy I wanted to go after. But by this time, usually a lot of the guys that I really, really like as far as Christian Haynes is gone. So, this is somewhere where you can go ahead and you can grab yourself a starting offensive guard, starting center for the foreseeable future. I really do like Christian Haynes. Again, another guy that was at the Senior Bowl, played very, very well. T'Vondre Sweat, I'm not as high on T'Vondre Sweat as a lot of people are. I do think that he's a very good player. It's just I mean, no disrespect when I say this, but to me, he's like a Jordan Davis light. I feel like there is that upside that you look at him, and he is a kind of a finesse player, even at that big size. I mean, he has a really good swim move. He has some really good technique, but you're going to be looking for him to eat up gaps. He's a big, big guy. Let me see how big he actually is. 346. So, I mean, he's a big, big guy. He's a gap eater, but I just don't see the upside that I saw in a Jordan Davis. That's kind of shown in him going, dropping all the way to the second round. I don't think that this is an Eagles pick. I think that they are happy with what they have, and as we go on throughout this draft, I think that we'll see other options. Christian Haynes, I don't know if you're going to get another option. Cooper Beebe is another guy that I really like, and you could take him down here. We have 2 picks within like 5 picks, so there's a lot of different ways you can go. Chris Boswell, another guy. Malachi Corley is another guy. If the Eagles want to go ahead and shore up that wide receiver 3 spot, he's definitely somebody you can do. Enos Rakestraw is a guy that Daniel Jeremiah had us taking him at number 22, if I'm not mistaken. He had us taking him at 22. So he's a guy that you could take. Obviously, I took Cooper Beebe, so I don't know if I really want to double up. Edgerrin Cooper is a guy I really, really love. I've said this for a long time. And you look at the linebackers that are left. You got Edgerrin Cooper, who I think is probably the top guy. Again, depends on who you ask. Cedric Gray, a guy that really, really showed out at the Senior Bowl, had a really good week. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., a fan favorite, right? And then Tyron Hopper, I think, is a very, very good player as well. Very, very athletic. And Peyton Wilson, you got as well out there, who I love a lot as well. So there's Junior Colson. You got a lot of good linebackers, in my opinion, that can help you out, that you don't have to go ahead and take Edgerrin Cooper. I would love Edgerrin Cooper, don't get me wrong, but right here, I think that the smartest move would be to shore up the middle of that offensive line. I am of the thought process that Cam Jurgens probably should move back to center. So I'm going to take Christian Haynes. And even if you want to keep Cam Jurgens at guard, Haynes played a lot of center at the Senior Bowl, and throughout that week, he's been training at center for basically this whole offseason. A lot of teams are asking him if he has that versatility, and he's trying to show that he does. Excuse me. So Christian Haynes, shout out to UConn. We bringing you on down. Again, we're getting some good some decent, some decent pick swaps. I'm good though. So this is where it gets interesting. Do you go ahead and take the best? And Tavondre Sweat gets taken up. Malachi Corley gets taken up. Honestly, if Corley didn't get taken up, I probably would have taken him over Edger and Cooper just because I do think that there's a lot of good linebackers in this draft. So now it comes down to what do you want to shore up? You can go ahead and double dip, and we haven't even dipped yet, right? But you can go ahead, get a Jeremiah Trotter if you're in love with him. You can get an Edger and Cooper right now. Chris Jenkins. You can get yourself a running back, Jonathan Brooks. I do think that there's a lot of good running backs in this draft as well. Michael Hall you can get. Enos Rickstraw is still there. Bo Brady at safety, depending on what you think of Cooper DeJean, excuse me. Max Melton is a guy I'm very, very high on. A lot of different ways you can go here. I think that it's best for the Eagles now to finally take that swing at linebacker, and I think that Edger and Cooper would be a welcome addition. And this probably kicks off a little bit of a run on the linebackers, and we'll see what happens here. But I'm going to go ahead and take Edger and Cooper. Again, I just think that he's the best linebacker in this class right now, and Jeremiah Trotter did come off the board, and I think the running back I wanted came off the board as well, if I'm not mistaken. Did he? Oh, Kalen King goes, yeah, Audric Estime is somebody that I really like. So, unfortunately, we're not able to get him. Now, defensive tackle, I said this, right? On the interior, you have some guys that can really go in there and make a difference. I like Brandon Fisk a lot, and I like his attitude. I think that he has a very, very good attitude. At the Senior Bowl, he had to switch teams at the last second because one team didn't have enough players, and he just wanted to play. So I like that type of just dog. I like that type of attitude that he just wants to go out there and prove what he can be. Obviously, you got Javon Bullard. That's not a bad decision if you want to go with a safety there. Peyton Wilson is a guy that I really, really do like. The only thing that worries me with Peyton is his injury history. And do we really think that the Eagles would go back-to-back linebackers? I guess that's really the question you have to answer. Who else do we have here? Jalen Wright is a guy I could see the Eagles liking at running back. Junior Colson, like I said, he's another really good linebacker. Jalen Ford is another really good linebacker that I like. Marshawn Lloyd, I really like him. Trying to think. Braden Rice, Jared Wiley. It's tough because right now we're at 97, right? We're in the top 100. So this is where you really want to go and get another impact player. But your next pick isn't till 160. So do you maybe reach a little bit? That's a question you have to ask. I'm going to go with what I think that the Eagles would do. All right. And I would love to get Peyton Wilson here. If I'm the Eagles, I'm probably going with Peyton Wilson. If the Eagles are the Eagles, they're probably going with somebody on that defensive line. And I just think that Braden Fisk would fit what the Philadelphia Eagles want to do. A little bit undersized, but I think that he is a very, very good player and would rotate very well with the rest of the guys we have. So I'm going to go with Braden Fisk out of FSU. And Dwayne Carter is another guy that I really like. I know I didn't talk about him, but he's been going up boards exponentially, and it's very impressive to see. And another guy that I really like is a tight end, Jared Wiley. And a lot of people did not think Jared Wiley was that guy, but Jared Wiley is starting to get a lot of love. Now, next we have another very, very exciting position for me, okay? I love this kid. Malik Mustafa, another guy that's a little bit undersized. I think he's at like 5'10". Yeah, so he's 5'10". I love Malik Mustafa. And why do I love Malik Mustafa? Well, I did get to talk to him at the Senior Bowl. If his mom's watching this, shout out to his moms. His mom's is dope. I think they would just fit in Philadelphia. And honestly, I'll even give you a little something, all right? Shout out to his mom. I was able to speak to her at the combine and everything. Very, very nice lady. But I do want to say that she said Philly would be the perfect city for him. Smash Mouth football and fans. Just saying, his mom thinks that we would be a perfect fit for him. I think he would fit in Philadelphia. He is just a versatile, he is a Swiss Army knife. He really is. He can do anything you need him to do. He can play up top. He can play in the box. He can play one-on-one on tight ends, on on wide receivers, on running backs. He can do a little bit of everything, and he does a little bit of everything very well. So I know 160, you don't look at it and be like, oh, I just got myself a future starter. I think Malik Mustafa, if utilized correctly, which in Vic Fangio's scheme, I think they will, if utilized correctly, he can be a very, very good player for a long time, Wake Forest isn't the biggest of schools. Again, he isn't the biggest of guys. It is what it is. There's some things that you look at and you're like, it gives you some pause. One of the players that he said that he really looks up to is Buda Baker. So he says he kind of molds his game after a guy like that. I love him. I think Malik Mustafa won't even last this long, but if he does, I'm all for it. And this is one of the guys that in the top 100 at 97, I'm saying, do I pull the trigger? Do I go ahead and maybe take him around probably earlier than he should go? But we didn't pull the trigger, and we're able to get him here at 160. I think that's a steal. Shout out to Malik Mustafa. Now, we're in a spot that we have two back-to-back picks, all right? We still only have one linebacker. We have our cornerback safety, whatever you want to call it. We have another safety. I think that bodes well for the future. Now you're starting to look at best players available, right? Best players and best fits available, right? So I would love to get a running back in this draft, but I don't want to reach. I like Bo Limmer. I like Bo Limmer a lot, but I think that we covered that with the Christian Haynes pick. So I won't go with Bo Limmer. I'm honestly feeling one of these linebackers. I'm going to be real with you. Christian Jones wouldn't be a terrible pick as well. I'm really feeling one of these linebackers. Now, I like Aaron Casey. I like Maurice. I like Luke Raymer. I'm probably the only person that likes Luke Raymer. J.D. Bertrand is another guy that's pretty darn good. But I'm going to go with a guy I've been going with a lot in a lot of these drafts, and it's going to be Maurice. I just think that he's one of those, I don't want to say prototypical because I think that comes along with a lot, but he has the size, he has the strength, he has the speed, he has a little bit of everything that you need out of that linebacker position. And at 170, I think that at the very worst, he's very good depth for you. So I like that pick there. I do want to get a running back here. I think that there should be a couple running backs that are good. I like Carson Steele. I like Jawad Jordan. I like Racine Hali a lot. I'm probably going to go with Racine Ali. I'm not going to lie to you. I really do like him. I like Carson Steele as well. I don't know if I said that. Kamini Vidal was good. I believe he was at the Senior Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to go with Racine Ali, all right? I think that the Eagles do need to worry about that running back position, and I think there's no time like the present. So go ahead and get me a Racine Ali, a guy that I think that is very, very underrated. I think a lot of these running backs are a little bit underrated just because it's a very deep class. It's not very top-heavy. Like last year you had the two guy you had, why am I forgetting his name? He's right here. You had Bijan. You had Bijan, right? You had Bijan. You had Jahmyr Gibbs, so it was a little bit top-heavy. This year, not so much. I think that you have a lot of really good players, not necessarily a bunch of, two great ones and then a bunch of guys. But even last year, you had a really good running back class. Now, I would love to go wide receiver. I know a lot of people want us to go wide receiver, but I don't want to just reach on a guy and hope that he works out. There are going to be free agents that we can go after. I think that there's a lot of good free agent wide receivers in this year, free agency. So why not wait? Why not, get what you need out of this draft and keep it moving? Now, Brevin Spain forward is a huge, that guy's, I think he's like 6'7", 6'8", 6'7". There we go. So he's huge. He played well at the Senior Bowl. He showed that he can block. He showed that he can, get out there and catch the ball, run some routes. Is he the perfect prospect? No. I would honestly rather have a Jared Wiley, but at the end of the day, I think that we do need to figure out what we're going to do with that tight end position, and he could be a guy that really helps out. Now, Gabe Hall is another guy I really like. Honestly, Gabe Hall is another guy I really, really like, but we did go defensive tackle with Braden Fisk already, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get Brevin Spain forward, man. I do like him a lot, man. Like I said, and he's a big, big guy. So there's potential there. There's definitely potential there. Now, quick question before we do this last pick. If you guys, all right, so we all know the Eagles need a tight end, right? At some point, the Eagles are going to have to go ahead and get a tight end. If Brock Bowers, for some reason, was to drop to 22, would you go ahead and take him at 22? Let me know in the comments. I would love to know what you guys think. Now, the last pick, Honestly, last pick, I usually go with Christian Jones. I think that he's a perfect player for us to kind of develop. Excuse me. I do like Carter Bradley, and it's not because I know so much about Carter Bradley, but watching him at the Senior Bowl, there was like a little spark there. You know what? When you watched Tanner McKee last year, it felt like there was something there, right? You can't say, oh, he's the most accurate player in the world. He's the, quickest player in the world. It's just something that when you watch him, it's fun to watch, and it's something that I wouldn't mind seeing the Eagles go ahead and develop. But let me see who else we have before because I do think that the Eagles would be smart to go ahead and get a developmental quarterback. I mean, you do have Tanner, right? We'll see where he is. And then you obviously have your starter, but we don't have Marcus Mariota anymore. So if you want Tanner to be your backup, maybe you do have to go and get yourself somebody that's just a little bit developmental. I think I'm going to do it. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Carter Bradley. I think that he's a fun guy to watch. Shout out to South Alabama. So that's our draft. Let's just get the final results. Any minute now. There we go. So that is our results, man. We got Cooper DeJean in the first round. We got Christian Haynes out of UConn in the second round. Edger and Cooper as well in the second round. We finish up our top 100 picks with Braden Fisk out of Florida State. I love those top 4 picks. I think that all 4 of those guys give you some valuable reps. So I think that that's a home run in my opinion. Malik Mustafa, another home run pick in my opinion. I think that he can be very, very, very useful for your team. And I really do. I really do love his versatility. That's a guy, if you do not know who Malik Mustafa is, go look him up. And Christian Haynes, I mean, you guys should know who he is. But if you don't know, because I know some people like to look over UConn, go check him out because he's a dog as well. Maurice Liafu, I hope I said that name right. He's a dog coming out of Notre Dame linebacker. Racine Ali, he had a really good season. I like him a lot. Brevin Spain-Ford, another guy that I think that he could be a developmental piece, somebody that you grow with, but I think that he has the tools to be a really good tight end in this league. And then we ended up with Carter Bradley. I mean, why not end it with a guy that, some people are going to argue with me in the comments, but I love it, man. I love it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Is there anybody I should have picked? Is there anybody I shouldn't have picked? What do you hate about this draft? What do you love about this draft? Let me know everything in the comments. But other than that, I appreciate you guys so much. And be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe before you get out of here. But yeah, y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly. And we are out here. Peace!
Everywhere, this is for
Yeah.
you.
Fly Eagles flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man soft. Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, early time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, y'all know I like to do this, okay? Y'all know I like to do this, so just bear with me. Shout out to my guy, Vincent Wright. This comment is from 2 weeks ago. So I'm telling you guys, whatever you comment, I'm going to find it. I'm going to figure out a way to find it. If it's something that sticks out to me, we're going to talk about it at the end of the video. So Vincent Wright said on one of our Best of Enemies videos, he said, Joe, give Kellen Moore a chance. I have a feel he's adjusted his mistakes from the Cowboys and he's in position. He can do something special. Either way with this offense. I am on board. I am on board. At the end of the day, I've said this since the Eagles season has ended. All I can do is have faith. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to have faith, and I'm going to hope that everything works out. I think that Kellen Moore is a very smart mind. It's just hard. It's hard to really believe in this team sometimes, and right now I'm just a little bit on the fence. But I am all in. I'm hoping that the Eagles go out there and do what they got to do. But I appreciate that comment, but y'all know what it is. Peace.